Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Robin's Nest. We're going to talk a little NASCAR. We're going to talk a little Supercars today. We're also going to talk a little WRC. Several things to dive into. So before we do that, if you enjoy listening to me ramble about motorsports, cars, or anything else I feel like talking about, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications. The works. If you're interested in diecast cars, t-shirts, hats, auto parts, anything like that. If you're looking for Christmas gifts, we've got something for you, I'm sure. We've got over 1,500 items listed in our store currently on eBay. So make sure to check it out. I'm going to put the link in the description. As always, follow me on Facebook and X for more motorsports content. Those links are also in the description. Without further ado, let's get to the video. So today is the day. It is D-Day. Obviously this is not as important as what D-Day was. Maybe it's a bad comparison, but regardless, today is the day that the court case starts with NASCAR and 2311 in front row in earnest. So if you are to believe anything that Denny Hamlin has said, there should be bombshells that are dropped today, right out of the gate. Denny has said, leading up to this point, that, can't talk about anything publicly, but just wait until December 1st, and there's going to be some crazy stuff that comes out. So I'm interested to see. I'm excited to see, actually, what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting. I don't see how NASCAR comes out of this smelling like a rose, especially so far with what we've seen. And if there's anything that's on the level of some of these emails and texts that have been released, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. And I'm here for it, man. I'm along for the ride. Supercars finished up their season this weekend. First season of the finals, which if you're unfamiliar, it is essentially a playoff system. They incorporated, this is the first year of it, like I said, and the way that it shook out was they went to Adelaide, and Supercars has several races within one weekend for the most part, unless it's like Bathurst, but I've explained this before, but they'll go to a racetrack, this case Adelaide, and they had 3 rounds over the course of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And they had 4 drivers: Kai Allen, Brock Feeney, Chaz Mostert, and Will Brown. They were all in the hunt for the championship. And it's not exactly like NASCAR where they wipe all your points away and it's like whoever finishes in front of the other one wins the championship. You still had some points accumulated. I don't understand how it all works because it's confusing as you know what. As is the case with any playoff system in motorsports. It's convoluted, confusing. It's just nonsense. So anyways, the way that it shook out when they got down to the final race of the weekend, Brock Feeney, who's had a killer season. Okay, one of the best seasons that we've ever seen in the series. I think he had to finish within a couple of spots of Chaz Mostert to wrap up the championship. And so, first lap of the last round, they go into, I think, second or third turn. And Ryan Wood, Chaz's teammate, wouldn't you know it, makes a lunge at Brock, hits him, spins him out. And then after that, Brock's coming back up through the field, still has the fastest car by far, and still going to win the championship. And then they started to have a motor issue, an electrical issue. I don't know exactly what it was that was causing it, but the car was... the commentator said it was sneezing, and that's a pretty good illustration of what it was doing. It was just coughing, and there would be times where it would run fine, and then there would be other times where it wouldn't run for nothing. So he ended up losing the championship to Chaz. Now, I've seen some people online that are taking up for this system. They're like, well, everybody knew the system when they went into it, and everyone's playing the same game. That doesn't mean that the game is legitimate. Okay, Brock Feeney won 14 races this season, 19 pole positions, and he lost the championship to a guy I think who won 5 races, something like that. By all rights, Brock should be champion right now, and if you've watched my channel for an extended period of time, I'm not a Triple 8 engineering fan in the slightest. And Triple 8's the team that Brock drives for. Red Bull, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a fan. and I never really have been. You know, I don't know what they do to their cars, what they've got going on, if it's just more money, more resources, but they're just head and shoulders above everyone else. Whatever, you know, that's part of it. If there's not going to be a spending cap or anything like that, and you can outspend folks, then yeah, you know what, do what you got to do to win championship, win races, what have you. But the way that it shook out, man, at the end of this weekend, it's just nonsense. Nonsense. The guy in second place in points, teammate, takes out the championship leader. Okay, that in and of itself is kind of bogus. Now, if you watch the replay of the crash, Brock does kind of squeeze Ryan, but Ryan never should have put himself in that position to start with. Why would you make a lunge to the inside of the championship leader on the first lap of the race? Knowing, like, if you look at the scenario, the way that it played out, there's a 50-50 chance, or maybe even higher, on the side of this is going to end badly, you know. And of course, Ryan got a 15-second time penalty. What does it matter? You know, Ryan's not in the championship hunt. His job was successful. And look, I'm not saying that it was an intentional thing, but it was avoidable. 100% it was avoidable. And it wrapped up the championship for Chaz in hindsight. And there should have been a deeper dive into that situation rather than just giving him a 15-second penalty. There should have been a far deeper dive into that to see exactly what was going on behind the scenes, if there were any instructions or what have you. Because, you know, a couple weeks ago, I remember where they were at, maybe Sandown or something like that. Chaz started first in the race. Ryan started first, and Chaz started second. Anyway, this is one of the rounds of the finals. He immediately lets Chaz pass him going into turn one, and then proceeds to block everyone for the rest of the race from third on back. So they're not opposed to, you know, using Ryan to help Chaz win the championship by any means necessary. So again, I'm not saying that the stuff was on purpose, it was orchestrated, but it's definitely something that needs to be investigated, 100%. And I am of the belief that this needs to be a one and done with this format. If you look online, the feedback, Jeff Gluck had posted about this earlier, and he's spot on. Universally, the feedback is negative. And it's like watching the end of a Cup season or an Xfinity season or truck season when it comes down to the Final Four nonsense. Most of the feedback is negative. You know, and then you always have to question, was this champion actually a legitimate champion? Did he deserve it? For the most part, every once in a while, like Corey Haim, you know, he was a rightful champion in the trucks this year. But for, you know, overwhelming majority of the time, there's always an asterisk next to the person's name who won the championship. There's always questions. Did they actually deserve it? Was there help? Was the sanctioning body, did they have their hand in what took place? And it's a similar thing with supercars. Everything that I've read for the most part, and like I said, you've got like one or two people that'll take up for it and advocate, well, it needs to be interesting and blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, everyone is on the same bandwagon. They hate it. I don't know who was asking for playoffs in supercars to start with. I've been watching supercars forever, and I don't remember reading anyone's comments or hearing anyone say, hey, you know what this series needs? Finals. No one was saying that. So it's obviously a TV situation, just like NASCAR. You know, it was put in place to drum up excitement at the end of the season when most people are not going to watch anymore. Well, I say most people. You look at what's going on in Formula One right now. They're going into Abu Dhabi with 3 guys in contention for the championship. And they've got a full season format. You know, no playoffs. And it happens like that a lot in these series if you just let it play out naturally. Or if a guy has a kick-ass season and just smokes everybody like Brock had this year, well, then he's just the rightful champion. And it just happened that way. I speak for most people who are actual motorsports fans, not your casual people that'll watch for 5 seconds and flip over to something else, but for your motorsports fans who will watch every round of the Supercar Series, every NASCAR race. We just want to see good racing. Okay? The championship should be a byproduct of the races, not the other way around. Okay? We just want to see good racing. We want the races to mean something aside from a finals berth or a finals advancement or playoff berth and what have you. That's it. That's just what we want to see. And so, but Supercars now has painted itself into a box. I mean, everyone's already calling it the NASCAR of Australia and New Zealand, and they're spot on. That's basically what it is. And if you saw Brock Feeney's interview after the race was over, man, it was tough to watch. Kid was upset, and rightfully so. You know, he's fought his entire life, his entire career to get to this point, was in a position finally on merit to win a championship, and it was taken from him due to a gimmicky format. And that's just all there is to it. I mean, it's nonsense. But speaking of nonsense and championship structures, WRC Sebastian Ogier won the championship. Three rounds he missed, 3 rallies he missed. Won the championship. I talked about this the other day, but it still sticks in my craw because I was on X earlier, and there were some people touting, oh, he's the greatest that there's ever been. But if you'll think back, that I think it was 2 years ago, the FIA changed the points format slightly, but ended up significantly. And what they did was, on the final day of the rally, on your power stages and what have you, you get more points, essentially, is what it boils down to. It's another one of those things that, like, it's confusing. Every time these sanctioning bodies make a change to a championship format, they always seem to make it more confusing than what it already was. With WRC, it wasn't confusing, you know? You accumulate the most points throughout the season, you're a champion. But they had to go in and they had to get cute and they had to change things and make it convoluted. So now if you fall out of the rally on day one, you know, you can repair your car and come back for the final day of the rally and still score points on the power stages. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And that's exactly the reason why Ogier was in a position to win the championship in the first place. Again, who asked for this? Who? Why are we trying to take the wheel and reinvent it? We have things in place in these motorsport series, not just those two, but just in general, that have worked forever. There's never been a serious issue. You know, whereas in like NASCAR, the serious issue that everyone will reference is the fact that Matt Kenseth won the championship in 2003 after winning 1 race. Ryan Newman won 8 races and finished like 8th or 9th in points. Okay, but Matt was more consistent. That's just the name of the game. You just have to be more consistent. Supercars ran a little spot before the races started Sunday, the last day of the event in Adelaide, where they were legitimately bragging about the fact that they are not rewarding consistency anymore. That's not what this format is aimed towards. It's just gimmicky, man. It's gimmicky. And basically what the WRC has is, without having playoffs, they basically have playoffs. You know, these guys are falling out of rallies, and then you can come back on Sunday and still score points. What? I mean, what are we doing? But, you know, I've never been one to accuse the FIA of making wise decisions over the years, because they haven't. You look at the overall state of WRC right now, it's not healthy. It's not. I don't care what anyone tries to tell you. It is not healthy. When you have 3 manufacturers represented in the top in Rally 1, only 2 of them are actually factory teams. You have champions who are just, like, leaving. Kaylee Rovanpera is leaving Rally to go pursue a Formula 1 career. Oyt Tanek is just leaving in general. You know, and these guys they're not old guys that are retiring. I'm older than Kaylee, and I think Oyt and I are basically the same age. It's just, it's not good. It's not. And then you go to these rallies like Saudi Arabia that was just a complete joke of a rally. Complete joke. I'm sorry, I don't want to like tick anybody off. I don't have a problem with Saudi Arabia, the country itself. But that rally was just atrocious. Now, whether you want to chalk that up to Hankook bringing a garbage tire, I don't even think that was it was a big issue, but it wasn't the only issue that was going on with that rally this weekend. I think a lot of my issue with that rally was just, it looked awful. You know, you go to these other events and it's, you know, these beautiful scenery in the background. If not that, then you're through like the forest in Finland. It's just beautiful to look at. You go to Saudi Arabia, and not only are you out in the middle of the desert, but you're literally doing a chicane around power poles. And I'm not talking about just like your average power pole that we have out here in our yard with the big wooden power pole. No, I'm talking about like the industrial massive metal ones that have like 15 lines connected to them. You know, it looked like something out of Mad Max. And it just, I don't know, it stuck in my craw for whatever reason. If you guys have never seen the movie Black Dog, okay, I posted a picture of it on YouTube yesterday. It's a Patrick Swayze movie from the 90s. I think it came out in like 98, 97, 98. And it's a trucker movie, essentially. It's a mindless action movie. It's not great, okay? It's not. It's like a B movie. But, man, it is fun to watch. I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. My dad used to have it on all the time. And essentially what the story is that Patrick Swayze is an ex-convict. He had fallen asleep doing running a load from point A to point B. Fallen asleep on the road. And when he drove off the road, there were some stranded motorists on the shoulder, and he hit them and killed them. So he went to jail for that. Because I think he had... You know, there's time limits on what you can actually drive, and I think he had gone over that. I think that's what the story was. Don't quote me on that. So anyways, he gets propositioned to do another run. He's working for this mechanic shop where they're working on the tractors, and he gets propositioned by the owner of the business to do a run for him off the books, so illegal, running some guns. And so the FBI is involved. They know it's all happening. And then Meatloaf, the singer Meatloaf, may he rest in peace, was the guy who I think they're middleman, essentially, and he gives Patrick Swayze's character, I think his name's Jack Cruz. I tell you how corny some of the stuff is in the movie. Jack Cruz. Anyways, he gives him the tractor to make the run with, but then Meatloaf's actively trying to hijack the load as the film, you know, progresses. And it's just, there's a lot of chase scenes, there's a lot of carnage. But one thing that stuck out to me when I was watching it is just how different the economy is from what it was back in the 90s. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Nowadays, when you make a low-budget movie, when you do these action scenes, there's like 95% of it's going to be CGI. It's not going to be real. But back then, I mean, they were actually flipping semi-trucks over, blowing them up, all this kind of crazy stuff, you know, because the economy was better, obviously. And you could swing those things. When you were making a low-budget movie, you still had the funds to make that kind of stuff happen, have special effects, practical effects, real stuntmen, you know. But nowadays, it's kind of like a lost art. I think the economy has a lot to do with that. Laziness also has a lot to do with it, for sure. You know, let's try to squeeze as much money out of this crap movie as we possibly can. And again, I understand that, you know, it's business, but we've gotten away from where film is supposed to be an art form. It's not really looked at as an art form anymore by a lot of people. Some people still do, but a lot of people don't look at it that way. They just look at it as a way to make money. And you do make money off of them, but it's supposed to be an art form. My wife turned on the old Scrooge movie from, I don't know, a long time ago. The guy that played Scrooge in that movie, I was looking him up because I'd recognized him before. He played in Patton, which is a great film if you've never seen it. You should go back and watch it. But he turned down, I believe, an Oscar at one point back in the day that he had won for Patton. I think it was Oscar. It was one of those awards. He turned it down because he said that the film industry, it's supposed to be art. You know, it's an art form. It's not supposed to be a competition. And he's spot on. Spot on. But I'm going to go down a rabbit hole with that. But if you haven't seen the movie Black Dog, go check it out. It's an interesting way to blow an hour and a half. You know, it's not a long movie. Just kill some time. You want to watch a corny action movie with a bunch of chase scenes and crashes. That's the movie for you. As always, if y'all enjoy listening to me ramble about motorsports, cars, anything else I feel like talking about. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications, the works. If you're interested in die-cast cars, t-shirts, hats, auto parts, anything for Christmas, any Christmas gift that you're on the prowl for, I'm telling you that we've got something for you. So check out our eBay. Link is in the description. Follow me on Facebook and X for more motorsports content. Those links are also in the description. As always, thank you guys for watching. Till next time, we'll see you. God bless. Peace.